You're here. Good.
Sebastian, that relic you mentioned...
I believe one of Slytherin's students stumbled upon the relic during an assignment to study sarcophagi in this catacomb. From what I read in a report by the student, they weren't permitted to take it with them, so I must assume it's still here. As I mentioned earlier, this relic grants its holder the power to reverse dark magic curses. If it's in this catacomb, I have to find it. For Anne. I need to see her.
I'd be interested to know what else the student discovered.
Have a look. Unfortunately, there's no name on it, but I suspect if it was important enough for Slytherin to stash in his spellbook, it's worthy of further study.
I'm ready to explore the catacomb. Perhaps we can visit Anne when we've finished.
Perfect. By the way, Ominous has been asking about you. You didn't tell him what we were doing, did you?
I didn't. I promise.
Good. Ominous would be livid if he knew what we were about to do. I'll be interested to compare what lies inside to what I've read about this catacomb. I'm sure that foul smell is the scent of success. Try not to lose your nerve just yet.
At least now we know we're not alone in here.
Perhaps that was it. And the rest is insect-free.
Yeah, spiders aren't insects.
Don't start. We're here for a reason. I'd say opening them all is justified.
Revelio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa.
This room is taller than it looks.
Levioso. Incendio. Revelio.
Finding a chest in an inconspicuous loft. Brilliant.
Accio. Revelio. Incendio. Incendio. Protego. Bombarda.
We've rid the world of another spider. I should sleep better tonight.
Revelio. Accio! Incendio! Accio! Revelio! Accio! Revelio!
Now this is the sort of great room I want to be buried in.
Surrounded by grandeur.
Grandeur and then some. Even an altar with a pile of bones. Lovely.
Bones outside a sarcophagus. Seems odd. Accio! Revelio! Accio! Revelio! There's something here by the altar.
What did you find?
Looks like part of a student's diary. It mentions plans to return for the relic and conjuring barricades using bones.
Of course. The student's summary referenced the space beyond the Great Room, which means this can't be a dead end. Let's divide and conquer. You work on sorting out the bone barricades, I'll look around and see what we missed. Hold on to that diary entry. There may be more to it.
It does mention something else. It says their next assignment was learning the Imperius Curse.
Really? Interesting. We need to focus on moving beyond this room. But let me think for a moment.
Do you think the pages were left here on purpose?
Slytherin mentioned a student who excelled in charms and always carried a satchel stuffed full of notes. They might have been left on purpose, or the student may have simply dropped them.
Of course. I'll start to search for those barricades.
Brilliant. There's more to this than even I imagined. Look, bones stacked oddly on either side of this archway.
Leave no stone unturned. Or in this case, no bone. Bombarda!
If this archway's been barricaded, we can find a way. Did you hear that?
We're in a tomb. I assume eerie sounds come with the territory. Accio! Revelio! Accio! Wingardium Leviosa!
The student mentioned bones as the key. Therefore, bone piles must be what we need.
Revelio! Accio! Bombarda! Revelio. We've made it this far, but clearly we have more to do. Accio. Revelio. I need to find a safe way across. Accio. Revelio. Accio. Lumos. Incendio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Revelio. Incendio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Rickety Bone Bridge complete. Bombarda. Revelio. Accio. Revelio. Accio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Revelio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa.
You've done it. I knew we'd get through. I felt it in my bones.
Nice. Revelio.
Before we trudge on further, I've just realized something. The student's diary mentions the Imperius Curse. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to need it here. It's an unforgivable, but useful when you're outnumbered. Places the victim completely under the caster's control. So, if you'd like to learn Imperio, I can teach you.
Where did you learn the Imperius Curse?
I taught myself. Don't tell Ominous that I've told you. It's not exactly something I can brag about, but but it may come in handy. I think you ought to know it.
Shouldn't I know more about what the curse entails?
Remember the blasting curse? Same idea, except when it comes to unforgivable curses, your intention has to be clear. You have to mean it.
It's probably wise to know the spell.
I couldn't agree more. A spell that could save your life shouldn't be unforgivable. You have a lot at stake. You have an ability that evidently no one's seen for centuries. Focus your wand movement. It's not an easy spell to master. Here we go. Something troubling ahead. Be on your guard.
Revelio.
Sendo.
Potato. Stupid.
Sendo.
Incendio. Revelio. Bombarda.
Another barricade. Considering how well you did on the last one, this should be a cinch.
How gracious of you.
I try.
Accio. Revelio. Accio.
That worked. Keep going.
Bombarda. Incendio. Potato. Accio. Revelio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Accio.
This looks different than what we faced before. Now we're
Wingardium
also dealing
Leviosa.
with rune symbols.
Revelio. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa.
You are head and shoulders above these bones. Nicely done.
Revelio. Incendio.
Bombarda. Confringo. Potato.
Stupefy!
Defender.
Confringo!
Expelliarmus. Confringo.
Stupefy!
Confringo.
Glacier!
Leviosa.
Potato! Stupefy! Confringo! Expelliarmus!
Sendo.
Accio! Incendio! Protego! Stupefy!
Never knew spiders could make such a mess.
Revelio! Bit dramatic, isn't it? Incendio! Bombarda! Revelio! Incendio! Accio! Accio! Revelio! Incendio! Bombarda! Revelio! Revelio! Accio! Revelio!
This catacomb has suffered decay, just as the student's summary described.
I doubt anyone's been here in quite some time. Revelio!
I see why Slytherin's student was so entranced with this place.
Revelio! Stupefy! Accio! Incendio! Lumos! Incendio!
Expelliarmus! Confringo! Bombarda!
For a moment there, I thought that'd never end. Revelio.
Bombarda!
Incendio. Revelio.
Dead end. Lovely. All that for nothing.
Hold on. Don't give up yet. Sebastian! The relic! Look!
Could it be?
Accio! The note and rendition of the relic. It matches. This must be where the student left the relic.
I can't believe it. After all this, it lines up. We've really found it.
What do you suppose is meant by the dark sacrifice required to realize the relic's potential?
I have no idea. But we're here for the relic.
I'm willing to ignore what the journal entry says. We're taking the relic.
Agreed. This is meant to be. For Anne's sake. I'm taking it. Let's get to Feldcroft. I must keep this relic secret. Especially from my uncle. Is that ominous? Ominous. The sounds we kept hearing. It was you.
You gave me no choice. I had to follow you. Sebastian, please, leave the relic alone. We can find another way to help Anne.
I'm sorry, Ominous, but I'm taking it.
No, you're not. If you won't put it back, then I will.
Hold on, both of you. Sebastian, please, take a step back.
Fine. But Ominous knows. I won't step back from a fight.
Can't believe this.
How much did you hear?
Everything. I heard you encourage Sebastian to take the relic.
Sebastian's done his research. He knows what he's doing.
Sebastian makes things sound easy when they could be impossible or dangerous. We need to stop him.
And if nothing will change his mind?
Something has to. I need your help.
Sebastian's right. We need that relic.
I'm sorry. My mind is made up.
Are you willing to sacrifice your friendship over this?
I might be. How could I choose to stand by and watch him do this?
What if the choice wasn't yours? You wouldn't be to blame for what happens.
What in the world are you suggesting? Imperio?
That's what I'm saying. I would take all responsibility. This could save your friendship. I know how to cast it. Sebastian taught me. But I won't do it unless you agree.
This is insanity. I can't believe you would ask this of me.
Sebastian is never going to give up trying to cure Anne. If you try and stop him now, he'll never forgive you.
Fine. This is unfathomable. But I suppose if you want that responsibility, it may just save what is left of my friendship with Sebastian. Remember, this is what I was telling you about the dark arts. They come with a cost. You may well regret making this choice. Do what you have to do. Cast it. Before I change my mind. Imperio!
Step aside, Ominous. Stay in place until we're out of sight.
I will.
Sebastian, come on.
What did you do?
Imperio. It was the only way to get out of here without a fight.
Ominous, I'm sorry.
Sebastian, we have to go.
Did we do the wrong thing?
You need the relic.
I know. But not like this.
Ominous and I agreed. Surely there's a difference between casting Imperio on someone without their knowledge and casting it with permission.
I understand what you're saying. I do, but...
I've taken full responsibility. You have my word. Revelio.
Bombarda.
Watch your step. I nearly slipped there. How long would the spell last? How long must Ominous stay in the tomb?
The curse is lifted already. He'll easily find his way out of the catacomb just as we did. He'll be all right, Sebastian. Revelio.
When we get to Feldcroft, I'd rather Anne not know what had to be done to get this relic. She thinks like Ominous. It'd only upset her.
Revelio.
Oh no, this isn't good.
What is it?
Smoke, over there, by the hamlets. Feldcroft's in trouble. They're under attack.
Let's hurry.
Not quite.
Simon was great. I was right not to be worried about you.
Revelio.
Pity, not quite.
Stay back! Keep out the way!
Where to go? We have to fight.
Keep out of sight!
You hurt me! Bombarda! You'll not win here. Bombarda!
Mine!
You've got them. They'll retreat. We'll make them.
Stop provoking!
I'm handling. Expelliarmus. Confringo. Repulsor. There's nowhere to go. We have to fight.
Keep out! All three!
Potato. Confringo. Expelliarmus.
Let's get this everywhere.
Will not win here.
Ringo!
Depulsor.
Boy! What have you done?
Saved my sister.
With an unforgivable curse. From that damned book, no doubt. Your father would be ashamed. You've gone too far, Sebastian. Stay away from her. From all of us.
What did my uncle expect me to do? The Imperious curse saved Anne's life. That goblin was going to kill her.
You did what you had to do.
If I have to keep proving that to my uncle, I will. He cannot banish me from my own home. From my sister.
It might be best to let him calm down a while. May I speak to him? Perhaps I can help to ease the tension a bit.
You may be right. Very well. Probably best if I get away from here for a while. I'll head back to Hogwarts. Revelio.
What was he thinking?
Pardon me, Mr. Sallow.
What Sebastian did was inexcusable. You cannot possibly be about to defend him.
Sebastian and I have encountered Ranrock's loyalists before. That goblin would have killed Anne.
This family does not resort to using dark magic even against our enemies. What Sebastian did cannot be undone. That you are defending Sebastian's behavior at all tells me everything I need to know. You are as guilty as he is. Sebastian is to come nowhere near Feldcroft, nowhere near Anne. Unforgivable curses are so named for a reason. If I hear that either of you continues down this path, if either of you uses dark magic, I will notify the headmaster immediately. Why, Sebastian?
Sometimes it seems all roads lead to Hogsmeade.
You'd think knowing spells would simplify things. Never seems to work that way.
It's not like her to forget.
New instruments are expensive, you know.
I didn't keep you waiting, did I?
Not at all. I was just at the post office. Gran told me to expect a package, but it looks as if she forgot to send it. She didn't send me an owl this week either. Perhaps she's busy with her research.
What was she sending you?
Only some feed she's been developing. I was going to give it to Professor Howin for the measles.
What kind of research is she doing?
It varies from week to week, but it's always to do with creatures. Last week she was studying leg knots in plimpies.
What did you find out about the dragon you were tracking?
I realised that she didn't know the poachers had her egg, so when she left Horntail Hall, she would have headed straight to her nest. I went back to the tent and tracked her flight.
How do you track a dragon long after she's gone?
Tree canopies, burn marks, things like that.
Well done. You certainly know what you're doing.
I can't be certain, but I have an idea of one place she may have been heading. I thought we might go and see it for ourselves.
Of course. Shall we leave now?
If that's all right. I want to see how she's faring if she had a collar on. And she's likely frantic about her egg. Here we are. I do think this is where we'll find her. The terrain's typical of where the breed would... I suspect it's how the poachers found her to begin with. They likely camped here and logged her patterns. Perhaps nabbed her first and then her egg. Dragons are hard enough to wrangle, let alone maternal ones.
You got all of that from simply standing here?
You'd be surprised how easy it is to think like a poacher. Shall we see if she's home? We only need to return her egg.
That sounds straightforward enough.
We should be in and out. Then we can be finished with the poachers once and for all.
I don't suppose you've thought about keeping it, have you?
No. It belongs to her. Keeping it will make me just as bad as the poachers.
If you're right about finding her here, how do we go about returning the egg?
Her nest will likely be in the heart of her den, which she will be keeping guard over. It might also be more charred than anywhere else, I imagine.
Well then, let's find our dragon and return her egg.
Wonderful. If she sees us flying about, she might take it as a sign of aggression or food. We should stay on foot. Oh, and one more thing. Let's not agitate her. Goodness knows she's been through enough already. I'm ready when you are.
Revelio.
There she is, above us. She did make it home safely. Oh, good. It looks as if she wasn't collared like the other dragons.
Revelio.
Poor thing must be worried sick, wondering what happened to her egg.
Revelio.
For what it's worth, she doesn't seem to have spotted us yet.
Let's hope it stays that way. At least until we've done what we came to do. Oh, that's a brilliant...
Revelio. Revelio. How charming. They keep in
She's breathtaking.
from a distance.
I see them. Fantastic. I wonder how good her eyesight is.
I beg your pardon.
I don't imagine the poachers fed her well. And from a distance, we probably look exactly like sheep to her. Hebrideans love sheep.
How lucky for us. Revelio. Watch your step.
Starved to pick off a grubhorn.
Or just raring for a fight. Revelio.
Quiet, what was that? Well, there's no turning back now.
Wait here! I'll run ahead.
Whenever you're ready, I'll follow your lead.
I'll draw her attention. Follow when it's safe.
Watch out! It's her domain. She'll make sure we know it.
She isn't making it easy.
Not a warm welcome.
It's a little too warm, if you ask me. I don't suppose she listened to reason.
I'd normally try, but we're well past that. Get to that opening below! If we can get to that, we can get to the left. Look! Underneath them! Stick with her! She's leaving! Quickly!
Brilliant. Revelio.
There's the nest. We're almost there.
Reparo.
Why is every bridge here broken? Now, if we just return her egg, we can hopefully make it out without too much fuss.
Revelio.
That was brilliant! And did you see how clever? She left us perfectly unharmed.
Creatures are a lot cleverer than most people realize.
That's what Gran always says. The important thing is that we survived it, and we returned her egg. Thank you for doing this with me. Wouldn't blame you one bit if you wanted to head back to the castle and never think about dragons again.
Shall we head back? I'm ready if you are.
I am. After our dragon rescue at Hauntow Hall, I half expect to be ambushed by poachers any time I'm not in the castle.
Understandable. We did sabotage their fighting ring and steal a dragon egg from them.
True. So why haven't they come after us? It's not like them to let things lie. Unless
what?
Unless they haven't let things lie. Oh no, I can't believe I didn't see it. We need to leave. I need to send an owl. How could I have been so blind?
I could use some gold. Come now, don't be stingy.
The Ministry's good work if you can get it.
Come on in and have a look around. No touching if you have sticky fingers. Plenty for your perusal today. Take your time. I suspect you have a sharp eye for fashion. Be sure to stop by whenever you're about.
My first employment.
Off on another adventure, are we?
Did you speak with my uncle?
I wish I had better news about your uncle and Anne.
Well, what did he say?
I'm afraid he wants you nowhere near Feldcroft. Nor Anne.
I had to stop that goblin from killing my sister. He had no right to banish me from my own twin. If he thinks banishing me means I'm going to give up on Anne, he's sorely mistaken.
He also said he cannot excuse the use of dark magic in any form, and that if he hears of either of us using it, he'll go straight to Professor Black.
Huh? That relic, dark magic or not, is the key to saving Anne. To reverse that curse. I will not lose Anne for good. I should send the crest to Anne. She'll know that we need to meet.
I'm afraid I don't follow.
Nothing, just a thought. Now I'm more determined than ever to learn what power that relic has.
What did you mean you'd send Anne a crest so that she'd know to meet you?
It's
We'd just lost our parents, and we were packing up to go and live with Solomon. We couldn't take everything. She was carefully organising her prized possessions, a box of artefacts she'd collected to do with our family. Jewellery, cards, old photographs. She got to her favourite, a handmade crest, and without a second thought she handed it to me. "This will keep you safe," she said. "It holds no enchantment, but I've kept it with me since. That's how I can reach Anne. I'll get the crest to her with plans to meet."
Be careful, Sebastian. Your uncle could intercept it. We'll be expelled.
Even if Ominous is upset with us, he has no love lost for his family. He'd use their connections to the headmaster if we needed his help.
I shall wait to hear from you then.
Thank you. I very much appreciate you standing by me through all of this. I'll send you an owl when I have news.
Handy resource indeed, your field guide. I'm most pleased to be included. Would you mind helping a boy?
Revelio. Revelio.
They know the lies and falsehoods no one's mightier at Hogwarts. What are you dribbling over there? Look like you've been had by the flobberworm himself. So hurrah, me lads, in Rookwood times is glad.
The beasts around here can sleep a bit easier now. Revelio. This could prove dangerous if I'm not careful.
I thought my owl might pique your interest.
I came as soon as I could.
I'd been so preoccupied by all that happened with Ominis in the catacomb, not to mention my uncle's reaction, that I'd almost forgotten what it was that struck me about that triptych. This is the view painted on the canvas that was left on it.
That's incredible. You know this area well.
And while I was waiting for you, I scouted around and discovered an abandoned mine nearby, surrounded by Ranrock's loyalists.
Do you think there's a connection to the triptych?
I've no idea, but perhaps they're searching it, the way they did Rookwood Castle and Isidora's Manor. How do we want to handle this?
We need to see what they're doing. I say we take them head on. Let's bury some enemies.
Very well.
And I still have that rune symbol we found on the triptych. If there is a connection, I suspect we'll see that symbol again.
After you.
Revelio. There they are up ahead.
I'll let you lead.
When the war is over, goblins will...
No one enters this mine. Kill anyone who tries.
Revelio.
Ranrock's loyalists are out for blood.
Totalis.
We'll reclaim what is rightfully ours.
You can't stop us.
Is that the best you can do?
Can't handle a little altercation. I'm a goblin!
You are terribly up there! Surely you can see that!
Incendio. Potato. Stupid one.
Oh, that was meant for me.
An utterly pitiable
Places.
You won't stop me.
Glacius. Confringo. Easily potato. Stupid one.
Dry.
kill you when I get down from here!
Confringo.
All of Ranrock's loyalists deserve the same fate. Nice work.
Revelio. Revelio.
This is going well.
We make a good team.
We do at that.
Once again, we could fight our way through or be discreet.
You know which one I'd choose?
You haven't had mushroom stew like what my...
Revelio.
Like heads of lettuce, those mushrooms were.
Utricus totalis. Expelliarmus!
And the fun is over.
Fun is a relative term. Revelio.
It is. And that was relatively fun.
Revelio.
I should tell you. Rumor is this mine was closed long ago due to an infestation of spiders.
How nice. Nothing I haven't seen before.
That's the spirit.
Revelio. For better or for worse, we're in.
Nothing over here. Quietly now.
This mine looks like a tomb.
It was closed after accidents were reported. Now I see why.
Confringo! Revelio. Depulso. Oh. Revelio. I don't see any goblins in these webs.
Too disgusting for even a spider to prey on.
You'll regret coming here.
Stupid
Child!
Stupid
You'll pay for that! Shall we? Coming back this way.
Expelliarmus!
How many robots?
Revelio. Too many. They definitely think there's something here they want.
That ledge is awfully high. Any ideas?
Confringo! Revelio. Confringo. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Leviosa. Revelio. It's no wonder spiders give people goosebumps.
Could be the hairy legs, or the soulless eyes, or the venomous fangs, or any number of endearing qualities, really.
Levioso! Rependo! Revelio! Smashing.
Thought to conjure stairs.
Reparo. Bombarda. Incendio. Revelio. Incendio. Accio. Incendio. Bombarda. Accio. Incendio. Accio.
We've read the world
Revelio.
of the spider. I shall sleep better tonight. We're making quick work of them.
Professor Hecat would be proud.
She would at that. Ramrock's loyalists all but declared war.
Bombarda. Revelio. Lumos.
Lumos.
Revelio. Confringo. Revelio. Lumos.
Lumos.
Revelio. Potato. Stupid. Revelio.
We've still not seen a single rune symbol.
I think we're going to be a bit distracted from runes for a moment. We have another fight on our hands.
It's true. This thing.
Potato.
Better.
Well, stupid one. Accio. Incendio.
Let's get this over. Rather unwise coming back this way.
Stupid one. We're not finished yet. Bombarda. Incendio. Bombarda. Incendio. Accio. Incendio. Potato. Bombarda. Incendio. Accio. Bombarda.
We certainly cleared the room.
You're not a bad chap for a Slytherin.
For a Raven,
Revelio.
we certainly have a lot to learn.
Revelio. Bombarda. Confringo.
We can have a look around in peace.
Revelio.
A rune symbol.
Confringo. Ranrock's loyalists never knew to look for it. Revelio. Compulso. Accio. Wingardium Leviosa. Leviosa.
I wouldn't be surprised to find a couple more rune symbols.
Revelio.
Wasn't expecting that.
Revelio.
What do you have there?
A journal entry by Isadora.
Hopefully it will help us unravel
Sebastian,
more of this
I think I
mystery.
found something. A canvas piece.
Brilliant. Our efforts weren't in vain after all. Still,
Revelio.
something about this place feels odd.
If the triptych led us here to find this bit of canvas, we can probably assume that Isadora Morganach was here.
She seems to have been everywhere.
But if she was using the Undercroft and the cellar beneath her manor in Feldcroft, why would she create this space?
And why hide it behind cryptic rune symbols? And ancient magic that no one but you could see?
Isadora and Percival Rackham, another of the Keepers, could see traces of ancient magic too.
Rackham? I haven't heard his name before.
His are some of the memories I've seen. I don't think he and Isadora saw eye to eye on how this magic should be used.
This is all rather baffling. Let's take the canvas back to the triptych. Perhaps the answers are there. This place is odd, to be sure, but I'm fascinated by it. Now, for the trek back out of here and to Hogwarts.
Unless we can find another passageway to the Undercroft. Let's have a look around.
And now for the moment of truth.
It has to fit. Please tell me you recognize the location in this bit of canvas.
The good news is I do, in fact.
And the bad news?
We're in for more trouble. I know that coast. Ranrock has taken over a huge mine in the surrounding area. Marenweem has suffered for it. It's as bad as Feldcroft's become. Should we head there now?
We should wait.
Why?
All this time, we've been a step behind Ranrock. I may know someone who could help us get ahead.
Who is that?
Someone who knows Ranrock personally. They asked me not to mention their name to anyone.
A goblin? Tell me I'm wrong. You know goblins cursed my sister to shut her up. Said she should be seen and not heard.
I do, but not all goblins are...
Not all goblins what? Have you forgotten Feldcroft? Have you forgotten the mine we just went through?
No, Sebastian, I haven't. You're not listening to me.
Why would I listen to someone so ignorant?
You don't know what you're saying. Take a breath for a moment.
Oh, I know precisely what I'm saying. Unbelievable.
I hope Professor Fitzgerald...
I believe my next broom upgrade to be even more impressive than the last. Come by Spintwitches as soon as you can.
Hogsmeade, here I come.
can't imagine how I'd have felt the boy if my headmaster cancelled Quidditch.
Hello again. Wonderful to see you. As before, I've arranged a special price on the broom upgrade for you. What are we looking for today? You'll be thrilled with that broom, I promise you. Thanks for stopping by. You're all set with the new upgrade. I can't wait to hear what you think. This may sound presumptuous, but...
You'd like me to report back with even more flight details.
You know me well. I feel I'm almost there. I just think I can improve broom flight a bit more. Miss Ray's is running a time trial at the South Coast course. Not ideal, really, what with rumours of Ranrock's lot and Ashwinders infiltrating the place. However, if you're flying high above them, you should be all right, I think.
I'm not worried, Mr. Weeks. I'll see if I can find Imelda.
I hope you are able to complete these trials. I have a feeling this final upgrade is going to be a sweeping success. Do be careful, of course. I shall look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to our next meeting.
Oh, good, you're safe.
There you are. You were in such a state when you left.
The poachers got to my gran. Someone recognized me in Horntail Hall and they got to her.
What do you mean? Is she all right?
She's fine, thank goodness. But they were at her house, our house. They assumed I'd sent the egg there. She said they took the whole place apart looking for it, screaming that we'd cost them everything.
I'm sorry, Poppy. I'm glad she's all right. I don't think either one of us could have anticipated that.
I should have known. I underestimated the poachers. And now another creature's in danger.
What do you mean?
The poachers refused to leave empty-handed, so they took valuable journals that Gran had discovered when she was researching rare creatures. One of them contained theories about a secret hiding place of the Snidget, long thought to be extinct.
Exactly what kind of creature is a Snidget?
It's a small bird with golden feathers. It's incredible. It has rotational wings that allow it to dart quickly in any direction. In fact, the golden snitch in Quidditch is based on the Snidget, which barbarically was actually used in the sport hundreds of years ago.
Why would snidgets be valuable to poachers?
They could make more money with snidgets than they ever would have fighting dragons. The golden snidget's feathers and eyes are incredibly valuable. That's why they're believed to be extinct. They were hunted out of existence by wizard kind. If the poachers found some now, I can't bear to think about the horrific way they'd be bred and killed for profit.
Where exactly are these snidgets allegedly hidden?
Gran says the journals were a bit cryptic, which is good. Perhaps the poachers won't be clever enough to find the birds. From what she recalls, the journals only noted that the key to finding them lay in the moonlight. Gran thinks it can be narrowed down to a handful of locations.
I take it you aren't going to let the poachers anywhere near the snidgets.
Gran wants me to stay out of it, but I know she's devastated that poachers might go after the snidgets, if they still exist. We had the element of surprise on our side when we saved that dragon, but the poachers will be watching for us now.
We need allies. Others who hate the poachers enough to help us, who value creatures as much
Merlin's beard! You're a genius! The centaurs! They'd want the snidgets protected at all costs.
Sounds as if we need to go and talk to the centaurs.
We'll need to be careful in how we approach them. Tensions with them are high. Still, I think they may be our only hope. Let me think on it. I'll let you know as soon as I have a plan.
Welcome back.
Hello, Professor. I have news. The goblins are looking for something. Another repository. They've built drills to help with their search.
Most troubling.
Are these repositories like the broken container I found at Rookwood Castle?
They are. I fear we have no time to lose. Have a look at the map. Fortunately, the next trial is fairly nearby.
It's Hogwarts.
As you know, I was headmistress in my time. My portrait hangs in the headmaster's office. In fact, I witnessed Professor Black learn of your arrival. And I'll confess that I wondered about you.
Wait, is the next trial in the headmaster's office?
It is. I had hoped that when the time came, the occupant of that office would be of help to us. Unfortunately, this headmaster seems wildly unconcerned with anything but himself. You'll need to access the office while he's away.
I understand. Very well. I'll find some way to get in.
Good. I shall meet you in my portrait there. Until then.
How will I gain access to the headmaster's office? Perhaps Professor Fig will know what to do.
Spare a moment. Deke has an idea to share with you.
Hello, Deke. You wanted to talk to me?
Indeed. Deke thought you might want to learn how to build a breeding pen so that you can breed beasts.
That sounds like a very good idea.
Rescuing and breeding beasts go hand in hand. Young beasts are particularly vulnerable to poachers. Breeding beasts here in the room will allow us to keep the younger ones safe.
I see. What do I need to do?
First, bring a pair of beasts to the room. One male, one female. Deke suggests rescuing thestrals, as they're at great risk from poachers. Noble creatures, but their relationship with death gives them a bad reputation. They're prized by poachers for their tail hairs.
I've seen thestrals before, but where would I find a pair of them nearby?
Deke has seen some wild thestrals not too far from the Hogwarts grounds. Then you'll need to purchase a spellcraft for the pen from Tomes and Scrolls and gather the materials it requires. Once you've rescued the thestrals and you have the spellcraft, you come and find Deke.
Does it get any more cozy than Hogsmeade?
Historically speaking, there's never been a team like this.
Beagle the Bard is a bit too hairy-hearted for my taste.
Just let me know if it...
Friends, I believe I can sneak away without drawing my mother's eye. Meet me near Hogsmeade, and we will devise a plan.
Let's look at what we have, shall we?
Now I can conjure a breeding pen in the room. Best get back to Deke with the thestrals.
Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help.
I've rescued the Thestrals and bought the spellcraft for the pen.
Excellent! Now, to breed your Thestrals, simply release them into the same vivarium in which you conjure the pen. Then use the pen to start the process. Come and see Deke when you're finished.
I shall. I wonder where I should conjure their pen.
Deke never grows tired of the room's surprises. We now have the perfect place for those Thestrals. Please let Deke know once you've bred them.
I think I know how and where to approach the centaurs about protecting the Snidgets. Meet me in the Forbidden Forest.
Revelio.
I can do this. I can do this. They will want to help.
Is this where we're meeting the centaurs?
Well, they don't exactly know we're coming, so it's less of a meeting and more of a surprise, I suppose.
I'm not sure about this. I can't imagine they're fond of being surprised.
We don't have a choice if we want to help the Snidgets. Perhaps they'll be able to tell that we're sincere. There's something about them that's so knowing. It's almost unnerving.
I suppose they are known for having an air of omniscience.
That's exactly the right word. I just... never mind.
What is it?
It's nothing, truly. We've no secrets to hide.
Speaking of secrets, I do want to tell you why Victor Rookwood's after me. He's working with Ranrock, and Ranrock's after something I found at Gringotts. Fig had a portkey that led us there after the dragon attack. It's a bit of a long story, and Fig's asked that I not speak of it yet.
Goodness. Well, that certainly helps explain a bit about what we saw back at Horntail Hall. Of course, I'll guard your secret as if it were my own. Even the centaurs won't know.
We'll simply be honest with them about what we're trying to do. They'll have to help us, won't they?
Yes, of course. You're absolutely right. We'll meet with them, tell them about the Snidgets, and I'm sure to all be fine.
What do you think you're doing here, humans?
Please! We were hoping to speak with you.
Ah! I suppose you'd like a tale for your friends of the time you spoke to a centaur, and it spoke back.
No! Never! We're here because we need your help.
Enough! You made a grave error in judgment in coming here, little witch.
Leave them be, Alec. We do not harm the young. It is not our way.
You forget your place, old fool. I'm the leader of this herd, and while you cling to our way, their kind continue to slaughter beasts like us without a care!
From what I can see, they have slaughtered no one. They will leave here unharmed.
Mark my words, Doran. If I ever see them again, it will be all 3 of your heads.
Foolish children. Do you know what happens to wizards who wander here? Now, follow me before
Golden Snidgets are still alive, and the poachers are after them. They know that the key to finding them lies in the moonlight, but they don't know what that means, yet. Please, help us find the Snidgets before the poachers do.
Could it be? In the south, there is a cave within which lies what the poachers seek. A moonstone. Retrieve it and place it in the henge in the forest. I, on the other hand, must go speak with the herd. Find me after you have done this.
I don't understand. So the moonlight mentioned in the journal doesn't refer to actual moonlight, but to a moonstone. What do moonstones have to do with Snidgets? And why was he so certain about where we could find one?
Isn't Moonstone all around us? Why retrieve one from a cave?
Knowing centaurs, I suspect he's referring to a specific moonstone. We'll likely know it when we see it.
I don't know, but I am inclined to believe him, what with his being a centaur and all.
I am too. It is a shame how quickly he left. What was his name? Doran.
That's what the leader of the herd called him.
Well, if Doran knows something we don't, I'd rather act now and ask questions later. I can head to the library and start looking into the cave he mentioned. I'll let you know what I find. I hate to see a creature. But trolls have no business in Hogsmeade.
Here's one of those tables Professor Shah mentioned. Revelio.
of mushroom tea. Oh, this day's gone on too long. Most goblins in my family worked in the mines at one time.
What are you up to now?
A castle. Must have been quite stately in its time. I'm ready to do what's needed to take Harlow down. I know you have a plan.
We must gather information from the friends of Mr. Bickle that Archie and Mrs. Bickle mentioned. Agabus Filbert, Otto Dibble, and Mr. and Mrs. Rabe.
All right.
I suggest that you speak with each of them while I head to the Hogshead. I saw some Ashwinders heading there. And as my mother would never go near the Hogshead, she is less likely to learn of my activities than if I were to wander the village questioning its residents.
Where am I to find these friends of his?
I do not know about Mr. Rabe, but his wife, Daisy, is often in Hogsmeade, as is Agabus Filbert. And Otto Dibble, he works at Gladrags, so you will likely find him there.
What sort of information am I trying to gather from these people?
They may know what evidence Mr. Bickle had against Harlow, or they may have evidence of their own. We simply need to know whatever they know.
Very well. I'll speak with them, see what I can learn.
I knew I could rely on you. We need to know how they are being blackmailed by Rookwood and Harlow. Meet me here after you have spoken with them. Hopefully, by the time you return, I will be able to move a bit more freely.
Good thing.
Revelio. Mrs. Rabe should be nearby.
Oh, Isco, what have I done?
Mrs. Rabe, I wondered if I might speak with you about Theophilus Harlow. I'm a friend of the Bickles and am trying to gather evidence against him.
Poor Joanna and little Archie. And now Harlow has taken my darling Isco.
What do you mean? Why?
I'm a security guard at Gringotts, and my husband is a curse breaker for them. Harlow approached me about helping him extort my colleagues into giving him treasures from the vaults.
And you declined?
Of course I declined. Repeatedly. I thought they'd given up, until I came home one night and found my husband gone, and a note affixed to my door with a knife. The note stated that I only had a few days to reconsider helping with some banking needs, and that my husband would appreciate it if I acted quickly. But the help Harlow wants is help that I cannot give, and my dearest Isco is paying the price.
Why wouldn't Harlow extort your husband?
Isco's job is even more removed from the vaults than mine. He travels the world for the bank. He could do nothing for Harlow. I'm the one in the bank on a daily basis, which evidently makes me an enticing target for blackmail.
Have you helped Harlow since your husband was taken?
No, I'm worried sick about Isco, but he'd never want me to compromise my integrity. I also know that he's extremely clever. That said, I was hoping he would have escaped by now. It makes me concerned as to why he hasn't.
Are you sure the note means that your husband was kidnapped?
What else could it possibly mean? Besides, I came home to find that someone had trampled the daisies in our garden. It may sound silly, but those were Isco's pride and joy. He would never have let that happen.
Thank you, Mrs. Rabe. Knowing the lengths that Harlow will go to is helpful, albeit more than disturbing.
Mr. Bickle was trying to help us, but now he's gone. I don't know what to do.
I shall do all I can to get evidence against Harlow, Mrs. Rabe.
Very well. Here's the note I received. You must be careful as well. Please don't put yourself in danger.
Some evidence worth hanging on to.
Thank you. I hope it's not too late.
Now, to find Mr. Bickle's other two friends. Otto Dibble works at Gladrags. I should check there.
Please tell me you didn't take it, but perhaps
Mr. Dibble, may I speak with you? It's about Theophilus Harlow.
I've nothing to say about him. May I interest you in a stunning cravat today?
Please, sir, I'd like to help. I spoke to Mrs. Bickle.
You know the Bickles? All right, but we must be discreet. Can't have Mr. Hill hearing this.
I know Mr. Hill. He was kind to me the day of the troll attack.
Oh, he's a good man, but even he wouldn't understand about Harlow. It started a few weeks ago. I was distracted, reading a note, when you-know-who came into the shop. I hid the note behind the counter and offered to help him. He stared at me for a moment, then asked me to check on an order he'd placed. I went into the storeroom to check on what turned out to be a non-existent order. When I returned, he was holding the note.
What was in the note?
It was a note from Rosie Hill, Mr. Hill's daughter. You see, we've been, secretly engaged these past 6 months. We haven't told Mr. Hill yet. I dare say he has higher hopes for her. Harlow advised me in no uncertain terms that my relationship with Rosie, not to mention my employment here, depended upon my cooperation.
What did he ask you to do?
It all happened so quickly. In an instant, he took a very expensive scarf from the counter, pocketed it, and smiled. He said, "Your secret is safe as long as I can supply my lady friend with delightful items like this every so often." I've been able to cover for his requests until now with some creative bookkeeping, but I can't keep it out for much longer. I'm terrified to say anything. I could never live without Rosie.
Could you give me a bit more detail about the note? That might help me to identify it should I come across it.
It's on Rosie's special pink stationery. It has her monogram at the top, RH. That's how Mr. Hill would know it was real.
What have you been doing to keep the extortion a secret?
Well, as I mentioned, creative bookkeeping. And I've also been trying to cover the costs with my own savings, but I'm running out of money. Of course, none of this bodes well for my efforts to improve my circumstances and be worthy of Rosie.
I met Mr. Hill the day of the troll attack. He was kind to me. Why don't you just tell him?
He's a lovely man. But when it comes to Rosie, I fear he loses all perspective. He'd see this as a grave betrayal. I'd lose my job instantly, and Rosie as well.
Thank you for telling me. I'm gathering evidence to take Harlow down.
I would love nothing more than to see him rotting in Azkaban, but be careful. He's an awful man and incredibly dangerous. As for Rosie's letter, should you happen upon it, I have committed it to memory. You may destroy it immediately.
Understood.
Now hurry off before Mr. Hill returns. Where was I?
We're on the right track. Now to find the last of Mr. Bickle's friends.
Is Percival. It's been ages since I've been up with him.
Agabus Filbert must be around here somewhere.
Hello there.
Excuse me, Mr. Filbert. I wondered if I might speak with you about your dealings with Theophilus Harlow. I hope to ease Mrs. Bickle's mind by gathering evidence against him.
Oh, tragic what happened to Bickle. He wanted me to speak out against Harlow for an act of violence committed against me. But I feared Harlow's retaliation, and so I refused.
If you had spoken out against him as Mr. Bickle asked, perhaps Harlow would be locked away by now.
Perhaps. But perhaps I would have suffered a similar fate.
You said that Harlow committed an act of violence against you. Could you tell me what happened?
Before my extraordinary wife, Dulcibella, passed away, she had just completed a small book of poetry. As a surprise for her birthday, one she never had the chance to celebrate, I had the book beautifully bound and plated in gold. One day, Harlow came calling to punish me for having spoken out against the Neanderthals that comprise Rookwood's lot. Before I knew it, I'd been petrified, and Harlow was rifling through my home. He found the book of poetry, with its exquisite gold plating. I watched helplessly, lying there in my entranceway as he walked away with the book, laughing as he went. I was shaken to my core. Still am, to be honest.
I imagine you fear Harlow retaliating again, but do you mind if I share this information with Officer Singer?
I suppose I have no choice. This extortion can't go on forever. You can pass it on to anyone who may be willing to help. Harlow does not like people talking, as you already know.
I've spoken with Mr. Bickle's friends. Now to find Natty. Incendio.
It's my favorite place.
Centaurs have never been responsible.
Yours aren't so bad. I don't mind the odd one without magic. The clanbacks does seem
It's not like Natty to be late. She said she was going to the Hog's Head. Perhaps I'll find her there.
Well, I for one shan't be going round for tea again, not at her house. You won't catch me there either. Not after what you bought from that blasted shop.
Natty must be around here somewhere. Natty's wand. She can cast without it. She wanted me to find this. She's in trouble. Revelio will show me where she was taken.
Nosy little students get what's coming to them.
Revelio. Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. The footprints led to this room. There must be another way forward. Accio! Hidden door. Natty must have been taken this way. I need to find her quickly. Revelio. I'd better be sure I'm not seen.
I don't mind breaking a few bones. It's not gonna work. You
Revelio.
Someone's coming for her. We ought to just kill her. Only a Hogwarts student would be arrogant enough to come in here alone.
How did I get things up in this, doing Rookwood's work forever?
You see, some like to be born and others don't they? What? Did I say your name?
Revelio.
seen this coming. I told you all, too many minds at work.
Share and share alike, say I.
Lower Hogsfield needs some stocks after our little visit.
Don't give me that look. You want to mind yourself, you do, before I take it in my head to do something.
Patricius Totalis. Revelio.
I've had enough of Spellcroft, and I never have to see it again. Girls been nothing but trouble. About time we locked up.
Patricius Totalis. Revelio.
Be on the lookout for the girl's friend, if they're daft enough to try to come through here.
I've raided Brockborough.
Has your brain been infested with bug-demons? A maneuver like that could have got us killed.
It's about time Rookwood took control. He doesn't need Ranrock.
Revelio.
Rookwood will lead us to victory. You mark my words. We may be working with the goblins for now, but soon they'll be to us. Isn't it best, though, to sense one? Surely one's inner wisdom has some sort of barometer, a clue as to whether our footing is bringing us either further away or towards.
Revelio.
Rookwood will reward us for our loyalty, don't you?
Oi.
Oh, I fancy it's time we found a new unsuspecting trader around these parts, don't you?
I don't want to work with goblins. Not now, not ever. Rookwood's gone mad.
Students these days, so full of themselves. Suppose that's what we're doing.
Revelio. Otto Dibble's love letter from Rosie. He wanted me to destroy this if I found it.
Always depressing.
Confringo! Expelliarmus!
That's what it is. I'll tell you why.
Let's see what you make of my new food. Potato! You do all
Is that the best you can do?
Revelio.
Aha! That's the ball.
Let me...
No, don't!
Accio. Incendio. Bombardo. Revelio. The book of poems that was taken from Agabus Filbert. He'll be thrilled to have this back.
What was that sound?
Patricius Totalis.
Die for that.
Revelio.
The girl's friend won't come looking for her. Too
You've come to the wrong place, child.
Expulsion!
Death from above! Bombardo!
Expulsion! Expulsion!
You will not survive this.
Arresto Memento.
Conductive, aren't we?
Defender.
Expulsion!
Potatoes, neutralize. Revelio. Natty must be here somewhere.
You found us. I knew you would realize I had left my wand for you. Speak to Mr. Rabe. He will tell you what you need to do.
Aloha, Mora. Revelio. Mr. Rabe, Daisy told me you'd been abducted.
You spoke with my wife. How is she?
Worried about you. Are you all right?
I am all right. Thank you for coming. These locks are cursed, and there's an anti-apparition jinx on the cells. Even Natty's skill with wandless magic cannot free us. I need you to find my wand.
Mr. Rabe, I found your wand.
Well done. I knew it was nearby. Now, you best stand back. One never knows how a curse will react to being broken.
Thank you, Mr. Isco.
My pleasure. And thank you, my friend. We owe our lives to your bravery. I may be too weak to disapparate with you both, but I can try.
You go ahead. Find Officer Singer. We will get out of here on our own.
Revelio.
Very well. But be careful. Thank you, my young friends.
Be prepared for a fight. These Ashwinders must pay.
Revelio. Incendio.
Let's find Officer Singer and put an end to Harlow once and for all.
Natsai Onai. I should have known. And you, the troll dispatcher. Oh, thank goodness the two of you are safe. Isco Rabe told me a couple of students had rescued him. Should have known it was you two.
Is Mr. Rabe all right?
He is. I sent him home to his wife. Miss Onai, your mother will not be pleased to learn that you're still risking your safety pursuing these dangerous men.
Actually, Officer Singer, Natty and I learned of several Hogsmeade residents who've had their lives threatened by the Ashwinders. In addition to abducting Mr. Rabe to blackmail his wife and Natty, Rookwood and Harlow have also extorted Agabus Filbert and Otto Dibble.
I will look into all of that. As for the two of you, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you are taking great risk. Next time, please let the authorities handle the Ashwinders.
With all due respect, officer, the authorities haven't done much about any of this.
There's more to taking down an organization like the Ashwinders than simply storming in and hauling them off based on a few accusations. I must insist that you leave them to us. We shall have no further discussion on this. Natsai, you may wish to speak with your mother about this before I do.
My mother will not like this. Thank you again for rescuing me. We shall speak soon.
To keep a clean house is staggering. If things keep going as they are, is it like that? Well...
How very rude.
you're back. Nice to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again.
Revelio. Professor Fig, the Keepers have shown me where the next trial is.
Has something changed?
Lodgok and I have learned that the goblins are searching for another repository, like the one we saw at Rookwood Castle. And I discovered that they're building massive drills to help in their search. Professor Fitzgerald seemed very concerned.
I see. Ranrock clearly knows even more than we suspected.
And sir, there's something else. Lodgok knew Miriam.
He knew Miriam?
They encountered each other at Rookwood Castle. She was doing research. That's where she found the container with the portkey. He liked her so much that he let her leave with it, despite orders from Ranrock.
I don't know what to say. She could win over almost anyone. I want to hear more of this. And, in fact, I'd like to speak with Lodgok directly. But we've no time now. Where is the next trial?
Believe it or not, it's in the headmaster's office.
Incredible. Very well. You'll need the password to get past the stone gargoyle. The headmaster's house elf will know it.
I don't know the headmaster's house elf. Will he even speak to me? I imagine he's loyal to the headmaster.
He is. So you'll need a disguise. I have just the thing. A polyjuice potion. You'll look and sound like Professor Black.
Wait, doesn't polyjuice potion require a bit of the person you want to change into? And take ages to brew?
It does.
So how do you already have polyjuice potion to change into Professor Black?
One never knows when such a thing may come in handy. Let's just say I felt the need to be prepared for anything after my fruitless trip to the ministry on his behalf. Now, time is of the essence. Drink up and I shall explain more. How do you feel?
Incredible. I won't forget that taste anytime soon. How do I sound?
Convincing. I've taken the liberty of transfiguring your robes. As we discussed, you'll need the password from Scrope, who could be anywhere in the castle. You might look for Professor Kagawa. She's taken to badgering the poor elf about Quidditch in the hopes that he can convince Black to change his mind. Thus far, unsuccessfully.
I see. But what if Professor Black sees me?
Leave him to me. I shall tell him where to meet a liaison from the Ministry in Hogsmeade. That should give you plenty of time.
Thank you, Professor. I suppose we'll meet again in the map chamber.
It's rather strange to hear gratitude coming from Professor Black. I'll see you there.
Now to find the headmaster's house elf. If you must speak with me, consult my secretaries or what have you. Now move along. You call that a shine on those boots? Do better!
I thought I heard the headmaster approaching.
Gareth! Mr. Weasley, what are you doing here? Don't you have, somewhere to be?
Oh, Professor, yes, of course. All sorts of places I'd rather be right now. Do you need something from me?
I'm looking for my house elf. Surely you've seen him?
Ah, the little one-eared fellow. I saw him heading to the Great Hall moments ago, muttering on about your, sterling graces, sir.
I hear you're getting quite good at those concoctions you brew. I say, why don't you bring a sample of your next batch to my office? I'd like to give it a try.
What? Yes, sir. I will. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
On your way, Mr. Weasley.
Well, there's one for my diary.
Stand proud, purebloods. The future is yours.
Professor Black, how are you, sir?
Mr. Gaunt, where do you think you're going?
I beg your pardon, sir. I'm simply on my way outside.
Taking the day off, eh? Typical student, wasting the hours away.
I have to write 20 inches on Dittany and its uses. Was heading to the greenhouse.
Ah, yes! Mixed with, bubo tuber pus makes a fine, mustache paste. Yes, mustache paste. I find.
Are you feeling all right, sir? You don't seem yourself.
I assure you I am quite healthy, Gaunt. If I need a medical diagnosis, I shall head to St. Mungo's.
Something is very wrong with Professor Black. Dittany and Boobertuber pus. Moustache paste.
I haven't time for any of you at the moment. None. None at all. Move aside.
Professor, a word? Professor Black, again, it is not too late to reconsider your decision regarding Quidditch. We could still have trials and a somewhat shortened season. It would be better than none at all.
But the injury, Madam Kogawa.
Professor, more than one student has taken a bludger to the head on our pitch. I dare say it knocked some sense into them. And they're fine now. The fact that it happened to be a pureblood, well, that's no reason to...
What nonsense! That you would trivialize the health of a student over a silly game.
A silly game? You are quite impossible sometimes. Sir, I've a good mind to write to the Department of Magical Games and Sports at the Ministry about you.
Good idea. I can even provide the parchment should you need it. Now, where is my elf?
Parchment? Very well, I will, and with pleasure. And I spotted Scrope in the Great Hall. Seems to be avoiding me.
I wonder why. Good day, Madam Kagawa.
What did we do to deserve him as a headmaster?
When I witness what passes for magic in these halls, I simply mourn for the future of the wizarding world.
It makes no sense to me why anything I've been doing.
Miss Broom, a word.
Oh, Professor, this is an interesting surprise. It's Bloom, by the way.
Remind me of your area of affinity, Broom. OWLs are swift approaching.
Charms, sir. Non-verbal spells. Might work on one that makes me disappear.
Well, keep at it, Broom. And before you know it, you'll be as invisible as that new fifth year seems to be.
Well, they're as good as invisible to me, sir. Rotten little extortionist holding my diary hostage.
What was that, Broom?
Nothing, sir.
Speaking of invisible, where's my blasted house elf?
Something seems a little off with the headmaster.
Chewing with your mouth open? Where are your manners?
Professor, a word, please. Hello, Professor Black.
Ah, Professor Weasley. How delightful to see you.
Sir?
Since I have you here, I wonder if I might, speak with you about Professor Fig.
Oh, very well.
I've decided to give him a bit more, leeway with his time.
Leeway, Professor? Are you sure that's wise? I confess I do worry for his students. He's rarely here as it is.
Ah, well, yes. He's handling some official ministry business for me.
I see. But, sir, if I may, I am wary of how much time the new fifth year seems to be spending away from the castle, supposedly on Professor Fig's behalf. I've heard unsettling rumors of their escapades. Everything from sneaking into the Forbidden Forest to confronting Ranrock's loyalists and Rookwood's lot.
What? Goodness. You cannot believe everything you hear, Professor. No, you cannot. I mean, I shall keep an eye on Fig. You simply keep doing the wonderful job that you're doing. Simply wonderful.
Thank you. But I'm happy to look into...
Good. That'll be all, Weasley. I mean, Professor Weasley. Good day.
A wonderful job. Leeway for Professor Fig. I shall never understand that man.
That ought to give Professor Fig some breathing room.
Wait until Master sees what a wonderful job Scrope is doing.
Scrope!
Oh, greetings, Master.
Remind me of the password to my office.
Oh, but Master made Scrope swear never to tell anyone, even Master himself.
How dare you question me? I've a mind to give you a matching set of ears.
Yes, sir. Of course, sir. Scrope begs forgiveness. It is the Black family motto, Master.
Right. Of course.
Master does remember it.
It's pure bloods forever, isn't it?
Close, Master. Scrope thinks Master is indeed testing Scrope. It is always pure.
Obviously.
And, of course, as Master knows, in French.
Ah! Yes, of course. I order you to pronounce it for me.
Oh, but Master knows that Scrope's French is most pitiful. Oh, very well. Toujours pur.
Ha! Thank you. Never speak of this conversation with me or anyone else.
Of course, sir. Scrope shall try his best to keep out of Master's way.
The polyjuice... Ahem! Attention, students! I hereby decree that the Great Hall be forthwith decorated in the elegant banners of Ravenclaw. I shall be taking... Made it just in time. It's wearing off.
Fig was right. I can't believe it worked. Now to speak the password to the gargoyle.
Revelio.
Incendio.